What's up, everybody? Welcome to Rats on Film, the show where a bunch of film rats talk about and rank movies. Welcome to the Happiest Pod On Earth. Today we are talking about some Disney movies. On the show with me today, I have Johnny.
What's going on?
Webb.
How's it going?
You dropped
Was
the
that
howdy.
not good? Okay,
Oh,
all right. Howdy, hey, howdy. All right. Reset.
Yeah, reset.
Howdy, hey.
No. Here's the thing. The not perfect intros match the theme.
That's true.
Oh my God. So keep it all in.
Not the best.
Don't cut don't cut any of this. I think this is all good.
Keep it all.
Keep it all in. Howdy. There we go. That's my intro.
And I'm your host, Xander. Welcome to the show, everybody.
And you know what this intro deserves? I'd say a bronze medal.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to get to.
Johnny's nailed it. So this is an idea from Chris. We're going to talk about the Disney animated movies, but there's too many to do on one episode and it's too annoying to have to pick. So we're breaking them down by the era of Disney. It's kind of a little bit debatable what falls in what era. We're using the BFI determination for what's in what era. And so
Is that like how you measure how fat you are?
It's the British Film Institute.
Oh.
Close though, close.
Pretty close.
So we're starting with the Bronze Age. We're not going to do them in chronological order. We're just going to bounce around. So I asked these two which era they would like to start with, and this is the one that they picked.
Because we want to give some appreciation to the less appreciated group.
There you go.
I don't like that they call it the Bronze Age. I don't like that they're already ranking them just for existing. I know that that's what we do. I know that this whole show's about ranking, but I don't like when other people do it.
But you would call these movies bronze, though, right?
Because the Brits are making me, maybe. Because whoever decided this.
I don't actually know where the different eras of Disney came from.
I just think it's weird, right?
Yeah, the next era, you're saying this one's bronze is bad. The one that comes after this is called the Dark Ages.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Really bad.
How do you think those films feel?
Real bad.
They didn't even go for stone.
They were like, Disney got the bubonic plague in this era. Okay, so the Bronze era is the shortest era. It composes just 4 films.
And I think just to talk about the Bronze Age for a second, I think the most probably substantial fact about it is post Walt Disney dying.
And you really feel that.
Jungle Book. Well, that's kind of like what categorizes it as the Bronze Age, as like it went from gold to silver to bronze. So it's being categorized as like getting progressively worse, right? And then Dark Ages after that. And the thing that categorizes this section is Walt Disney died during the making of the Jungle Book. Like he was alive for part of it. So they count that as, I think that's the last one of the silver. And then the bronze starts, and it was kind of like a transitional period in the company where they were putting different people in charge and they were doing different new techniques, mostly money-making ones.
Yeah. I think that's what's interesting, like watching these is like, it was really fun to watch like all 4 of these in a set, because I feel like you could really feel in those movies them kind of like clinging on to like, well, this is what we've been doing, this is what Disney liked. And then by the end of it, you can sort of see them start to like go into like new territory and like try new things and try different things, which I really liked. It doesn't always work, obviously. I just kind of thought that was like a fascinating way to look at these movies kind of post Disney, where it's like, what do we do? What are we really making with these?
It's also interesting because we're all 90s kids.
Yeah.
So these and so many other ones existed by the time we became conscious. So I never watched them in a context of these 4 being a group.
Yeah.
I've seen all these movies before in my life, but I never associated them with each other. None of them are sequels or anything like that. They're all standalone movies, and I've just known them all as Disney animated movies, not as a specific time frame or era or anything like that.
And when you watch them all together, you see how they fit as a group too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of similarities and a lot of through lines through these 4 movies.
Yeah, I guess, do you want to start talking about AristoCats specifically?
Yeah, let's get into the first one. First on the list is the AristoCats from 1970.
Oh, it's like a play on Aristocrat. I just got that. I just clicked. That just clicked
all
for
of
me.
a sudden it's there.
They're rich.
They are.
But not O'Malley.
Not Thomas.
He shows you
O'Malley.
there's more to life than the glitz and the glamour.
O'Malley rules.
He's pretty great.
I like this movie.
I love this movie. I think it's awesome.
It's good.
This was a family fave of ours, I think.
Really?
And it's definitely one that I grew up watching more than some of the other ones in this era.
Yeah.
I think it's just fun.
It is fun. I didn't have as much like experience with this movie, but there was a lot I really liked about it. I think one of my favorite parts about it was the villain. I really kind of like Edgar as a villain. I think he's got great motivation, and I think they show that in the beginning really great. And I think he's just kind of a fun, like it's sort of a classics kind of villain, but there's enough playfulness to like his role that it's not, I don't know. It's just, it was really, I had like a lot of fun watching like his moments, and I really love his character animation too. And I really love like the shot with like the dollar signs coming out of his eyes. They're all like different colors and stuff. Yeah, great villain. That one, I think he was definitely
he's so doofy.
I was gonna use the exact same word, that he's
Really?
a doofus.
Yeah.
Like but I like that about him.
No, totally.
No,
He's like
great.
he's evil and he's sinister, but he's like an idiot. Cats don't live that long, dude. You could wait it out.
Yeah, get rid of the cats after she dies.
Yeah.
Then she won't
There's
look for
other
them.
options.
It's so
Yeah.
true.
It's so funny. But then also even too, just like he loses his hat and his umbrella and he can't get it back from two dogs. Like everything he does, he's just so bad at.
His animation is amazing though. I'm pretty sure it was Milk Call.
That would make sense.
Which in the scene you're talking about too, of him and like plotting, basically,
Yeah.
it's like him listening and learning that the cats are going to get the money. I'm like 90% sure Milk Call did that.
I love his stuff so much.
Yeah, he's the best of the 9 old men.
Yeah. I think like the romantic motivation in this movie is also really sweet and very wholesome, of meeting this guy and him kind of like slowly becoming a father figure. And I like all the kittens and stuff too. There's just like a lot of...
name them.
Well, I don't know. I don't
Name the
Toulouse. Toulouse is the one.
Which
Toulouse
one
is my
Toulouse?
favorite, too.
Well, he's my favorite actually, because there's one scene specifically where like, I think it's like when they first wake up, he just gets up and he's like, "What's all the yelling about?" Like he's just in another world. And that is maybe like my favorite line in the entire movie.
No, but I do agree with what you're saying. Like, I was giving you shit, but I think the plot is super simple. And I was reading about it, and that's a critique of the movie, basically saying, oh, Walt Disney died, let's see what's going to happen with the Disney Animation Company, and they're playing it too safe. I see that criticism, but I would argue that even though it's a simple story, it's done really, really well.
Yeah.
And every single character in this movie is so likable and so fun that it's just such a great time to watch anyway.
There's good music in this too.
Yeah.
Thomas O'Malley's song is great. Everybody wants to be a cat, dude. But I would say everybody wants to be a rat.
Well, yeah, clearly. And that's why
You have to.
that's why I don't love this movie as much, you know. It's okay.
Well, but
It's
a
all
rat
right.
saves the day. A rat saves the day.
Does he?
Is he a mouse or a rat? I
He's a
actually
mouse,
don't
he's a
know.
mouse.
I was it's a mouse.
They're real big on the mice.
He doesn't really do much. Like he tries to
He
help,
eats that big cracker.
but he eats that big cracker, and
it looks good.
I think that was like that was the first big laugh out of me in the movie. I think it's just like, oh, I've got this little cracker here. Like it would really go well with that. And he just sneaks over there.
You know when people talk about like Ghibli films and they're like, they'll make compilations of all the great food edits from Ghibli
God,
films
yeah.
and how satisfying the food looks. Why is no one ever talking about the big cracker
This
dipped
cracker,
into
yeah.
the poison milk, the sleep pill milk?
Probably the
Somebody's gotta
poison
bring
milk.
that up, 'cause
The milk is probably why.
He
No,
put
but
a
it
lot of
looks
sleeping
good
pills.
though. It looks scrumptious.
I would have some of it.
I do think they do a good job too of like going back to the main characters of all the kid cats. Because when you're a kid, that's what you're paying attention to, right? Those are your favorite characters. Mm-hmm. They're all really likable and they're all unique. And they're all these characters that, like, they established from the very beginning of the movie that they care about culture. One of them's painting, one of them's singing, one of them's playing piano, you know? And then I think it's really well done how they go out into the real world and they get a taste of a different class of culture and that they love it.
Yeah.
I think that's well done.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, the getting out of your sheltered life. I would also say too, I'm definitely less knowledgeable about animation than both of you, but I feel like they do take a couple of different approaches in a lot of these movies, and in this one, I think that some of the, I guess it's the 70s, so I'll say psychedelic effects that they do during like the scat cat scene and stuff like that. It's like kind of fun. It's very like music video-y.
I love
but
it.
it's definitely something different. Yeah, me too. I think it's awesome.
I like that scene a lot, just visually. I was also thinking about it from like just a financial perspective of like reuse. Like I was like thinking of that title sequence when they first played it, and when I was like watching it, I was like, oh, this is very clear that this is like animation that is from the film. Yeah, it's animation you already had, but it's repurposed in a way that I think is fun and kind of sets the tone nicely.
That's a defining factor of the Bronze Age, is basically trying to save money and doing things as a company to save money and still produce a good product and a successful product. And one of the things that I'm sure we'll talk about is that the Xerox, which they didn't use cleanup for all of these movies. And it didn't start with these movies because 101 Dalmatians is like that, Jungle Book is like that.
Right, yeah.
I don't know how you guys feel. Like, I honestly love the Xerox.
I love
the
it
animation
so much.
Yeah.
It's like some of my favorite animation to come out of Disney.
And it's funny because people pointed out like, this sucks. They're trying to cheap out and not use cleanup artists. But if you really love the art of animation, being able to see the actual lines and the looseness of it, it makes it feel so alive, and you get so much out of it.
Yeah, you can feel the energy behind all these drawings, and I think that really adds to the appeal.
I love the line work in them. I think it looks so good.
Yeah, me too.
And the
backgrounds and the layouts.
Yeah.
The backgrounds and the layouts are great.
Backgrounds, they're so consistently good in these movies.
But it's another thing where I think people look at it like, oh, they're cheaping out a little bit. They're doing more of a watercolory style. It's not as rendered. The shadows are not as perfect, but it fits.
Yeah,
it fits
I think
for
it's
the
just a
vibe
different
of Paris
art style.
too.
Yeah, I was gonna say like it's very good for the setting. I think.
What color are your eyes, Webb?
I don't really know. They're like green.
Like
that
blue,
was not what I was expecting.
Blue like sapphires.
I was gonna try to make a sapphire blue joke. I knew they were blue or green, and you saying I don't know really threw me for a loop. I guess I was trying to make a fun punchy thing at the end, but let's just rate the movie. It was a bronze attempt.
A bronze attempt.
All right, so AristoCats will start at the top.
All right.
Next up on the list, Robin Hood, 1973.
All right. I like this movie better. Gotta say.
Just right out the gate.
Right out
the gate, I like this movie better. I don't know what
Robin
it is.
Hood and Little John, out the gate.
I was trying to think about it, like, because, especially just talking about, like, kind of, like, the romance of, like, the last story. Like, plot-wise, it's probably, like, a little... AristoCats is probably, like, better, but there's something about Robin Hood I really love. I love the tone a lot. I love the music probably more than AristoCats as well. I don't know. There's just something kind of like... I'm still trying to figure out like what it is I like about it more. I really like the use of like the kind of the mixed media at the beginning too. Like that shot of the book.
The storybook.
Yeah, the storybook is really great.
They're big into that in this era.
Yeah, because I guess they use that for the next one too.
I remember this one being like a favorite as a kid.
You loved this one as a kid.
Really?
But I hadn't seen it in a really, really long time. So it was very interesting to rewatch it. And I did not remember how vignette-y this one was.
How do you
mean?
It
doesn't really have a singular plot. There's kind of a couple of little stories of Robin Hood and Little John versus the king that are sort of discrete, sort of tie together in this like overarching of like the king hates Robin Hood. But it's like, oh, they're running through the forest and they get chased by the sheriff, and then they go rob his caravan, and then they go to the archery contest, and then they break everybody out of jail. Like they're kind of all separate. They don't really have causation between them.
Sure.
But
I mean, I don't think it's totally separate, but it doesn't flow as well as AristoCats' plot.
Yeah. I feel like what's interesting about this one is it's kind of boiling down famous folklore for children, I guess, is the idea behind it. It's kind of funny how they portray Prince John because he's such a little bitch.
I mean, his entire character is that he's such a thumb.
Yeah, exactly. It's just very clear that they were like, okay, everybody hated this fucking guy. What's going to make kids think this guy's a loser? A little thumb sucker.
Yeah, suck his thumb.
Well, and some cool design choices. I mean, he's a lion with no mane and that wears a crown that doesn't fit him.
It's too big for his head. Yeah.
But it works. It does work for his character. It's a really good design.
Yeah.
I like what you said, Webb, about the music, because I think the music is one of the strong points of this
Yeah.
And it really gives it a unique style and vibe that no other Disney movie has.
Totally.
And I just looked it up real quick because I couldn't remember the guy's name, but the artist who did it all, his name was Roger Miller, and he's also the guy who's voicing the rooster, Alan A. Dale, who's the narrator of the movie, singing songs throughout. But he also wrote all the songs for it.
Yeah.
And I think that that's an interesting thing. I don't know how many other times they did that, where they usually always have one person writing all the songs, but not that person also playing the character and narrating it, singing the songs in the thing, like as an active character. I think it's unique and pretty fun.
I think it probably does a lot to kind of set the tone and make it sort of more original than it would have otherwise been.
Well, it also musically is very different than what certainly people nowadays have come to expect from what a Disney musical is. Because I feel like Disney musical kind of has a specific connotation in people's minds.
Yeah.
All four of these movies, though, they do have a unique music element as compared to
for sure
the musical Disney thing that people think of.
Yeah, they're all a bit unconventional.
My favorite part of this movie is definitely the archery contest. I just love that whole from the beginning to end. That whole thing is great, and I love his animation when he's a bird. And during the archery contest, it's really
the costume's awesome.
There's honestly like a ton of like little great visual things in this scene that stick out. Like you were saying, like Robin Hood dressed as a bird. That's something I also love about the whole movie is just all the different like costumes and ways they make themselves into different animals. I think that's like really fun, and you get some inventive designs there. But in this archery scene, I also really love Sir Hiss. That little like gag of him like blowing up in a balloon so he can fly around, and I love the little like mouth sounds that you hear to make the like helicopter noise as he's like floating around the whole place. Like it's just so stupid, but it's just really fun to watch, and it's such a like fun little visual gag.
The archery scene's very Looney Tunes to me.
Yeah,
a lot
it is
of
a little bit.
No physics rules.
Shout out to
just like
Lady Cluck.
Lady Cluck.
The goat of the movie.
Kind of
bodying people.
She's crazy.
Yeah, when she like football linebacker just bashes all the rhinos.
She bodies about 80 rhinos.
That was another big laugh
single-handedly
that I got. Like there's...
And Robin Hood's the hero. I mean, how many people did we actually see Robin Hood take out? Not as many as Lady Cluck, dude.
There's one like Madden shot of like Lady Cluck where she's just jogging through all these guys that like really made me laugh.
It's so bizarre. It like comes out of nowhere.
It's so weird, yeah, but also really fun. This one I think is like when we really get to like a lot more of the reuse, because Little John is basically just Baloo, like design is really not different at all, and it's
Sir
the same voice. It's the same voice actor. Sir Hiss is Ka.
Yep.
That one's a weird one too.
A lot of the same voice actors in this from AristoCats. A lot of the same ones, which is not necessarily bad. But
no, it's not bad, but it was interesting watching it back to back from the AristoCats to this, and then also being like a huge fan of the original Jungle Book. Just knowing those scenes so well, and like watching this one again.
Them reusing the dancing from
it's just straight up just that same dance from what is it? Wanna Be Like You, which is really interesting.
But I do want to talk about the reuse, because I did find that it was very distracting in this movie for me.
Sure.
And I mean, Webb and I work in animation, and we know that a lot of animation is about being smart, right? And finding cheats to make things look good, but not do as much work. Like that's a lot of it that people don't ever talk about. But you have to do it where people don't notice. Yeah. And I think that this movie starts out with a really, really good beginning and a really charming beginning of all the animals walking to the whistling of the rooster, right? But it kind of is like foreshadowing that we're just going to reuse these walk cycles over and over and over again. Like they basically made a walk cycle and a run cycle for every single character, and they used them about 500 times. And the reason it's distracting is because, in my opinion, if you're trying to like craft an action shot in anything, not just animation, it's important to use different dimensions of space, have characters running to camera, away from camera, not only side to side. And it's very, very often in this movie that the characters are just running from left to right or right to left with the exact same run cycle that they've used 100 times.
Totally.
That's why that one linebacker shot is so good, because it comes out of nowhere.
Yeah,
it doesn't
so
fit
weird,
the rest of the movie.
It's the only time, though, that there's something like that. Like, I don't want to be too harsh on the artists and the animators, even though I think it's a little bit weaker in that standpoint. But the fact is that the more money you have, the better something's going to look. It has nothing to do with skill and artistry. It just has to do with how much time and money that they had. And they were trying to do something for cheaper and faster and with production problems.
Yeah, you end up cutting corners.
It's the same amazing animators like Milt Kahl, Ollie Johnston, Frank Thomas. They all worked on this. It's like amazing, top tier, all time artists.
Yeah.
All right, so Webb spoiled it where he wants to go. Where do you want to put this, Johnny? Above or below AristoCats?
I would put it below AristoCats. I really like AristoCats. And also, I had some notes and I forgot to look at them, but my notes for AristoCats literally just say Lafayette Napoleon, Lafayette Napoleon, Lafayette Napoleon. We didn't really talk about them. But their voice actors are also in this. And the person who voices Napoleon is the guy who voices the sheriff.
Yeah.
And I want Napoleon to bite the sheriff. I love AristoCats, and I would pick that first. So I'd put this underneath AristoCats for me.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Webb. I'm the same as Johnny.
No, I get it.
I like both. I think both are good, but I definitely am more partial to AristoCats. Though again, when I was younger, I definitely was really big on Robin Hood. All right, next up on the list, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, 1977. This one was really weird for me because I don't even know if I've seen all the Pooh movies, but I've definitely watched a lot of them.
There's not that many.
There's not that many. And when I went to this one, I was trying to think to myself, I was like, which one is this? Is it this one? Is it this one? Is it this one? Turns out it's all the ones I was thinking of because this one is just all of the different little snapshots.
Yeah.
And I didn't remember that was one movie. I was like, is it the one with like the windy day, or is it the one where he gets stuck in the hole? And I was like, it's not the Heffalump one. I know that one. And then, oh no, it's just all the ones together.
Well, here's the thing about this movie is that it's actually multiple shorts that have been stitched together. Like I think it's 3.
Talk about money save one.
Yeah.
No, yeah. We were talking about that on Robin Hood. This really is the biggest money save out of all of them because it's things that they have previously made and they went, let's tie it together
Repackage
in a story
as a feature.
and we'll add animation to make it make sense and we'll have in-betweens, and they do the whole storybook trope. I mean, it's much more of a meandering, much more of just like little adventures, not that much of an overarching plot.
Some might say many adventures.
Many. But it's a great movie, honestly. Even despite that, I think it's a really enjoyable movie. I mean, check out my mug.
The Winnie the Pooh characters are just good. They're just good characters. There's a lot of diversity in the way that they behave and what they bring to the different scenes or the different stories. And they do a good job in the ones that they chose to stitch together of kind of giving each of the characters a little moment, a little thing to shine, a little spotlight. And you get really different kinds of shorts when you kind of bounce around between them. Pooh kind of is the focus of most of them, but you know, he's interacting with the different characters on each one.
Yeah.
Why are some of them stuffed animals and some of them real animals?
It's not
Did
clear.
anybody else wonder that?
Yeah, like Owl's a full animal.
Owl, yeah, I guess
Rabbit is
Owl.
just Rabbit is just a rabbit.
Well, in the live
but
action,
then Eeyore and Pooh.
but in the live action, but I guess the way they're drawn. I was thinking of the live action titles where they show all of them as little stuffed animals. But
they are all supposed to be stuffed animals.
But it is weird the way they're drawn, some of them.
The owl and rabbit, and even the little gopher that pops up in that one scene, they're all just like regular animals.
Yeah. I like just read this, that the gopher is like not in any of like the original like Pooh stories. It was just one that like Disney created because they were like, we need something all American and something that kids will like.
That's so funny.
Disney loves a gopher, dude. American animation loves a little
guy,
dirt trail,
little dirt trail,
and then a guy popping out of a hole.
Which is great. It's great for animation.
It's kind of crazy how much Looney Tunes inspiration there is in these movies.
I was actually
thinking
thinking that because like I think one of the biggest ones for me was like just watching Piglet. I was like, this is kind of just Porky the Pig in the way his like delivery. You know what I mean? I was like, this is basically just it.
Webb, I thought I have that written down in my notes. He's got like the stutter. Yeah. It's not quite the Porky, but it's very alluding to, like, remind you Porky Pig.
Tigger is very Looney Tunes coded too. He's not directly a character, but the whole thing of speaking in an interesting cadence, being bombastic,
kind of crazy,
and having like a catchphrase that you say over and over again, like that. It's very Looney Tunes coded.
Yeah.
What do you think? What is your guys' favorite of the short stories in this?
That's really hard. I guess I probably liked. I probably liked the like trying to ditch Tigger. I think there was something kind of There's something about that one where I was like, well, first off, let me just say this. I wouldn't want to hang out with any of these animals. I think they're all assholes.
Piglet's chill.
No, dude,
Piglet's chill, dude.
The only one.
I want to hang with Eeyore.
Eeyore's cool.
Okay, yeah.
I fucking love Eeyore.
Eeyore's barely in the movie.
I know. That's my biggest criticism of this.
Yeah.
He's barely in it.
Fucking Pooh. Pooh is a dumb little glutton. He's always wanting honey. That's what I was just thinking this entire movie. I was like, this
Dude,
guy,
what are you
he's
saying?
he's climbing
a
a tree.
dumb little glutton.
I was watching it too, like that
He's
scene.
beloved.
That scene where he climbs up to get like the honey of those bees, and then there's like that very specific shot of like the bee spiraling down and like panicking in the mud. I was like, this guy's a menace, this Pooh. All just because he needs one more jar of honey after eating 70 jars of honey. I really didn't like him. I didn't like him much this again.
I want to say too about what Johnny talked about, like the storybook theme and sort of device that they use in this. I actually think it's really fun how they use it in this, where the narrator will be like, and Pooh ate and he ate and 27 pages later he finished, like little like moments like that. Or when Tigger's in the tree and the narrator turns the book sideways so Tigger can slide down the words to get down the tree. I love those little things. It's
great.
A really fun way to repackage shorts that you made, but give them a new little twist for how you're resolving them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
When they jump over the pages, like going from page to page.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's really cool.
I mean, it's also just goes to show, like, yeah, they were trying to make these movies for cheaper, but there's creative ways to make it great, even when you're not spending money. I mean, that's awesome. Milk Call also definitely animated a lot of Tigger.
Yeah.
He has this thing in his animation.
You're talking about the head waggle.
He has like a famous, exactly what I was gonna say, where he does a lot of head waggling, where people are talking and with syllables they'll be wagging their head back and forth like this. And when you watch Disney movies, you could see, if you look for that, you'll be like, oh, he animated this. He does with everybody. He did Shere Khan, and Shere Khan does it constantly.
So
Edgar does it constantly. Like he's always going like, like he's just it's like his signature thing, but it looks so good every time, even though he does it over and over. And I also want to say, this movie is just, again, random little stories of these characters. But then at the end, it does have this part that I actually think is really touching and really well done. That in a movie that is meandering, where you're running the risk of maybe people leaving it, being like, okay, I don't really know what to take from that. But you do take something from it, with the Robin Hood coming and seeing Pooh and saying, like, I'm going to leave.
Robin Hood,
oh my God. Christopher Robin Hood. It's all connected. It's all part of the grift. But him coming to Pooh and being like, I'm going to go to school next year. I'm not going to be around all the time anymore. But if I ever need you, will you be there for me? But that part was really touching, because it's just about, when you're a kid, you just fuck around and you just hang out and play, and nothing matters, right? You're just going on all these adventures. Nothing really matters. Nothing has consequences. And then it ends one day, and that's tragic in a way, but also happy in a way, that you always can go back to those memories and you always have that.
Yeah.
Seeing this like as an adult, I think I really appreciated kind of what I was saying before about like, you kind of see some like ugly sides of these characters. But in a way, I think that really makes it a lot more endearing and kind of relatable, where it's like, I like that they didn't shy away from some of those like harsher aspects of like each character's personality. And there's still something like really nice to take away at the end.
As an adult watching the movie, you see the whole situation as if Christopher Robin's playing imagination.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you can only see that in hindsight as an adult, like watching it back. As a kid, you're not really thinking that. But that's good about the movie. It gives something for everybody who watches it. Christopher Robin kind of dresses like an idiot, but
there was one. Is it like in the winter where he's like wearing a jacket and shorts, and it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
what's going on?
Bro, get some pants. They don't have pants in England. I guess their pants is underwear. They don't have trousers.
A trouser, yeah. Where are the trousers?
Where do you guys want to put Pooh?
This one's kind of hard for me, because
yeah, it is pretty hard.
I like this one more than Robin Hood. I think I would put this one second.
I probably like this one better than AristoCats too. I don't mean to be such a...
So you'd have AristoCats on the bottom
I don't
now.
mean to be such a hater on AristoCats.
No, you're not being a hater. That genuinely
just,
surprises me. I really thought you were going to like AristoCats.
I do like it, but I think I was just more entertained by both Robin Hood and Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. I think I was surprised at like
I really thought
how like kind of like annoyed I was at like all the characters in Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, you went on this whole rant about how you fucking hate Pooh.
But not in a way that like I dislike it. Like it's kind of fun to watch in that way, that there's so much conflict.
You love to hate Pooh.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, I love that he's a little... Do you know what it is? I recognize the me in Pooh. I recognize my own gluttonous behavior in Pooh.
Remember the time you got so fat and you got stuck in my front door? Well,
oh god, that was a nightmare. Put it on the bottom then. I don't care.
I mean, the bottom. If Robin Hood is your favorite,
Yeah, right. I have to put it on the bottom.
it's kind of tough for me because I feel like this and Robin Hood are pretty similar in my mind.
I agree.
Like pretty close together.
I feel the same way, and that's why this wins for me, because I like the Pooh characters more than the Robin Hood characters.
Yeah.
I think I like moments in Robin Hood a lot, but the Pooh characters, stick with me more. I guess I would put this second too.
Damn.
Robin Hood's just getting trashed.
Yeah, Webb's getting got. All right, last up then, The Rescuers, also 1977.
They both came out the same year. I mean, I guess
They came out the same
they didn't even
because they just repackaged the shorts. Mm-hmm.
This one was so I don't think I had ever actually seen this movie.
Really?
Yeah, I had never seen this one. I thought maybe I had like as a kid, but like seeing it, I was like, I think I've only seen clips of this. Really, really strange movie. Like I kind of respect a lot about it. But the tone and the pacing are just bizarre, and like there's a lot that I hear that I think like doesn't work. But I think it's really interesting to see it as like kind of Disney figuring out what to do next. Because one thought I had about this movie is that I feel like I'm seeing like a lot of elements of what would later be in like The Little Mermaid. You have the twin like alligators that are very reminiscent of the eels from The Little Mermaid. Even Medusa is kind of Ursula coded, but like not quite there yet.
She's very Cruella to me.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that.
They even
too.
give her the scene driving the car like a maniac.
It was actually supposed to be Cruella originally. I read on
Really? No way.
They were literally going to bring Cruella back.
Oh my
but then
God.
they went, let's make a new character.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true, but I saw that online.
But I really love a lot of the original stuff in this one. You definitely feel some of that kind of limited animation in this one too. There's so many just like backgrounds that are still like, I was really kind of surprised by the title sequence of these, but I love those paintings.
Yeah, I thought the title sequence in this one was awesome.
I thought it was so sick, but I couldn't help
too.
but think of like the reuse. But then the character animation kind of makes you think otherwise, because it's got some of the best.
Yeah, I was gonna say
it's got some of the best in this set of movies.
it has some of the best I think of all time.
I think like some of the stuff with Medusa is crazy good.
That's what I wanted to talk about too.
That's all milk call.
It's the best animation he ever did, and he's one of the best animators. I genuinely think like the few scenes with Medusa. Also, I want to say Medusa is probably the most underrated Disney villain ever.
Yeah.
She doesn't get brought up that much, honestly.
No, hardly ever.
Great villain. And the scenes, there's a few scenes with her. Her introduction scene when she walks in and answers the phone. The scene where she's taking off her makeup and she's talking to Penny. Literally some of the best animation ever made.
Yeah.
Like the character acting is
It's really great.
out of this world amazing. In the scene where Medusa is taking off her makeup and kind of talking to Penny, her reflection is there too. Like the animation is amazing. She's pulling off her eyelashes, and the character acting is insane, and the reflection is there at a 3/4 angle, and all of it is done so well. Like that's crazy. And I know too that I read that this was Milk Call's last movie that he did with Disney, and he knew it was going to be his last one. I think maybe he did like a couple other things here and there, but this was his last movie where he was fully on the movie as like a lead, and he actively was like, this is my last movie, I'm going to make it the best animation I've ever done.
Yeah.
But it's some of the best animation ever.
Yeah. No, it's so good. I mean, even like the first scene of her just walking into that room.
Yeah, that's the best one.
It's so good.
Yeah, that scene, I love this. I remember loving this movie as a kid, like this being a favorite. And I think that the best part about it is the premise, which is bizarre.
It's so strange.
That there's a society of mice.
I love that.
They don't explain it well either. They just go into it.
Nope. There's a society of mice that are helping people around the world. And there's it's like a little fucking United Nations.
It's so funny.
They're all from different countries, and one of them's Africa.
Dude, one of them's Africa? Fucking crazy.
But it was only European countries, and I saw Argentina, Pakistan, and everybody's favorite country, Africa.
But what I think works so great about it is mice in the big world, right? It's been done in animation in other places too, right? But in that like scene you're talking about where she comes into her office, the way that they're hiding amongst her desk, the way that they have to get around, like walking through the city and it's raining, when they climb into the window of the orphanage and they're going through her little box, all the context of the fact that their airline is a fucking bird, like an albatross that has like a little tuna sardine can. Orville.
Come on, guys. He looks insane every time that they take off. His face, he's looking at the ground and his head is moving and he's heaving. He's heavily breathing. And there's like epic music going on, like building, like as he's about to take off, and all you hear is and it goes on for like way longer than you think it's gonna go on of him just sloppily running and breathing heavily. And there's no jokes, there's no lines, it's just that, and they do it like 3 or 4 times. I actually thought it was so funny.
The all of that stuff I love so much in this movie, and I think it has so much charm. Just the scale and the way they played with like, what world do they live in that they can achieve the goal of rescuing somebody?
Yeah.
But that's the point of the movie, right? It's that like no matter how small you are, you can make a difference and you can help somebody. Like that's the point. Like it's exaggerated to the nth degree, but it's fun and it has a good message, you know.
It does, and it's also properly sad, I think. Some of the scenes with Penny, where she's like talking to the cat and she's like, nobody wants me, I'm just gonna be alone with Teddy, and then she gets fucking kidnapped by this crazy lady who's dumping her in a hole.
Yeah, who wants to put her in an underwater cave
just to get some diamonds.
Yeah, it's you actually feel so bad for her and you want Bianca and Bernard to save her so bad. I love them as characters too. I think they're great. We got another returning voice actor. Duchess from AristoCats is back as Bianca. So Eva Gabor as Bianca and Bob Newhart as Bernard.
I love Bob Newhart in it.
Yeah, he's great. I also want to shout out my other favorite character in this movie, Evan Rood.
Dude, I have in my notes Evan Rood is a G.
He's pretty
Evan
great.
Rood fucking rules.
The unsung hero of this movie, really.
He really is. Dude, the bats were trying to fuck him up.
He was gonna die. Like he could have died.
He was dying for the cause.
And you know what though? They make him a member of the Rescuers at the end because he goes with them on the next mission.
Oh, that's right.
So fucking earned. So that's like one of the things that one of these movies usually you're like, this person did everything, but they don't get their flowers.
He got the credit.
He gets it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the little shout out to the muskrats that they run into. The
little
like
same, well, that's the same voice actor.
Lafayette again.
I was
oh no, Napoleon, right?
Whichever, I don't know which one.
It's
but
Napoleon,
yeah, it is the same voice.
It's Sheriff Wolf.
Sheriff Wolf.
Yep.
I was thinking that like watching this one, where it's like Disney Studios, they really love their hicks. You know, where's the hick appreciation these days?
I want to talk about something in this movie that actually applies to I think all of the movies and something that is consistent throughout this entire era, which is Bernard has some insane riz. I mean, he's winning over Bianca without even trying.
He's really like doing nothing. It's crazy.
He's literally reading books on the plane, and she's
just
like,
being a guy.
Oh, but she's kissing him. He's just like, what the hell? Like,
yeah.
I mean, the riz is insane, and I'd like to talk about how in each of these movies, there's one character that has insane riz.
Yeah.
And which is the rizziest of them all? We can decide as a little bonus mini game.
Okay, yeah. So who are you nominating for the Riz Masters?
In the Rescuers, okay. Tigger in Winnie the Pooh.
Okay.
Robin Hood and Robin Hood, obviously.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then Thomas O'Malley.
Yeah.
I mean, really,
they're all
4 of them
pretty incredible. Yeah.
Well, they should rename this from Bronze Era to Riz Era.
The Riz Era.
To the Riz Era.
Okay, if I'm gonna rank them, I'm gonna go Thomas O'Malley number 1, Robin Hood number 2.
Don't put Tigger
Bernard. I got it, dude. Bernard.
There's only one.
All right, fine. I'll put
And his
Tigger 3,
son.
Bernard 4.
You're gonna put Bernard at 4?
Yeah.
I was
Tigger.
almost exactly with Sanders, but then he switched Bernard and Tigger, and I'm gonna keep it that way. Tigger is the last. Sorry, Tigger.
The wonderful thing about Tiggers.
Whatever. You know.
He says the wonderful thing about Tiggers is Tiggers are wonderful things. Their tops are made out of rubber. Their bottoms are made out of springs.
Oh, springs.
They're bouncy, trouncy, flouncy, pouncy, fun,
right.
fun, fun,
we
fun.
all know it.
But the most wonderful thing about Tiggers is I'm the only one. I'm the only one. He's literally telling them. He's telling the
So you're
ladies out
putting him
there.
number 1?
Tigger number 1. Tigger number 1. Bernard number 2. Because the dude isn't even trying, and he's
not even trying.
getting everything he wants. Robin Hood number 3. Thomas O'Malley last.
I can't believe what you're putting out.
O'Malley last.
This is an insane place.
I said it, and even I think that's
even
crazy.
you know,
Why did I
yeah,
do
that's
that?
crazy.
Yeah, fine. Swap Thomas O'Malley and Tigger, fine.
Oh my god.
Okay, back to the rescue.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, back to Rescuers. Yeah. What else are we saying about this?
Yeah, I think this one has a lot of charm. I think it's got a really fun premise and really fun characters just throughout the entire thing.
I think it has the highest range of emotion. It has the saddest parts, and it has the happiest parts of any of these movies. And I think it also has the best, not only the best animation, but the best action choreography and action set pieces. I think that's someplace where a lot of the other ones lacked, where they'll have moments of action, but it will be very quick and it will be fun. But the other best one that I can think of is I like in AristoCats, the dog motorcycle scene. Yeah, that's a great action. That whole scene is amazing. But this one has quite a few like high intensity, high action scenes throughout the whole thing.
All right, where do you guys want to put the Rescuers?
The thing is, I'm putting it below Robin Hood.
You
As much as I like about this movie, it's below. It's
Rescuers
last.
Crazy.
All right.
Crazy.
Last from Webb, Johnny.
I'm putting Rescuers first.
You're putting it first?
I think it's the best one.
Okay.
I'm not just doing that as a reaction to Webb. I actually think it's the best one.
Whoa.
I think it's close for me with AristoCats. I think AristoCats is more fun and it's funnier. And I probably would enjoy watching it over again. But I think, like I was just saying at the end, I think the energy and the climax and the emotional range of the Rescuers and the animation make it number 1 for me.
I feel you. It's close for me between AristoCats and Rescuers, but I think I'm going to put AristoCats above for the reason of I think the AristoCats is a way simpler movie, but I think it's tighter and it works more flawlessly than this one does. It is very basic and it's very simple, but I think it's really effectively done.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
So we would probably
put it second.
Yeah,
I put it first.
Yeah, I put it second and Webb put it fourth. So I think it'll go
second.
We'll do
second.
That makes sense.
We'll do second because Webb will weight it down from your first.
Yeah. Okay, so let's hear the final list.
Right.
Webb, cover your ears.
So the Rats on Film official
It's
ranking
not working.
for the
I'm just
Disney
hearing it
Bronze
more.
Age, objectively in our opinion,
It's louder.
starting from the bottom: Robin Hood, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, The Rescuers, and The Big Cheese, The Aristocats.
Everybody wants to be a cat.
Everybody wants to be a cat, dude. Everybody wants to be a rat.
Well, most people. Some people.
Some people want to be cats. Listen, I think we started the show off talking about how the Bronze Age kind of gets a bad rap. They're penny pinching, they're scrimping and saving, they're taking all the shortcuts. But I actually think all of these movies are good. I genuinely don't think any of them are bad.
No, yeah, I agree. I really enjoyed all of them.
I think they all have their strengths.
Yeah, I don't think any of these are all-time Disney movies for me. If I was going to make a list of my all-time favorites, but I think they're all good and they're all really enjoyable and they all have a unique charm and a unique riz about them.
Oh man,
a lot of Riz.
Yeah, the Riz era.
Thanks everybody for listening to Rats on Film. Follow us on social media, Rats on Film Pod, wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We will be back in 2 weeks to talk about some more movies, and eventually we'll come back and talk about the rest of the Disney eras.
Yeah, the end.
Whoa. I'm the leader. I'll say when it's the end. It's the end.
Okay, cool.